Every weekend, the drivers battle nose to tail, door handle to door handle on great race circuits in North America. Sebring, Road Atlanta, Motorsport, all for the honor of standing atop the podium on Sunday evening.
Then on Monday morning, the so-called bean counters in Detroit, Japan, and Germany go to work, checking out the results, checking the bottom line to see just how their cars have done. Because, hey, these guys like to win, too.
And that's because the Motorola Cup isn't just a competition among drivers. It's a battle for bragging rights among the world's leading automobile manufacturers. GM versus Ford, BMW versus Acura versus Lexus, and Honda versus Mazda, just to mention a few. And today, the action cranks up one more time at Road Atlanta, Georgia for round 7 of the Motorola Cup, North America's #1 racing series for street stock automobiles. And it's brought to you by Motorola, web without wires. By Derringer, complete international logistics solutions. And by Sunoco Ethanol Enhanced Ultra 94, the gasoline that powers the Motorola Cup. I'm Jim Martin, and welcome to Road Atlanta, where the huge field of street stock cars is out on the pace lap and getting ready for the green flag. And with me once again, the man who's probably trained half the drivers in the field today, if not more, Terry Earwood, the chief instructor at the Skip Barber Racing School and a former street stock champion too.
Well, I don't know about half, but a lot of these drivers, male and female, have either gone through the Skip Barber School or teach with us. Chuck Goldsboro, Branson Patch, Bob Nagel, Mike Culver, Mike Fitzgerald, Terry Borchelder, Mike Wienberg, Lance Stewart, Slick Dick Starita, Howie Llebengood, Scott Harrington, just to name a few.
You know, that does sound pretty close to half. But, Terry, just how important are these manufacturers' championship points?
The manufacturer points are extremely important because the motorsports manager of each manufacturer, he has to go back and tell him how his car has done. The better his cars do, the more budget he gets for next year. And that boils down to technical support for us. A lot of times you get free parts. A lot of times you get free cars. So it just means so much to try to get as many points for these guys, let them take home the trophy, and that way they can wind up trying to get a bigger budget for next year.
So here are the manufacturer's points leaders after 6 races of the season. In Grand Sport, Pontiac leads Ford by 8 points. BMW's third.
In the sports category, BMW leads here at 103, Acura second at 99, Eagle pretty far back in third at 34 points.
In the touring class, Acura leads Honda by 13 points. They've only got a 5-point margin over Mazda.
And in compact, things are tighter still. Honda's up at the top at 103, only 3 points back Hyundai. Mazda following right in there at third at 80 points.
Right off the bat, one of our top contenders in Grand Sport, the 11 Pontiac Firebird of Devin Powell's got a problem. He gets going, but it looks as though he's going to have to start last in our 50-car field from pit lane.
Yeah, if you can't make the grid, if the car won't start, they let you push it off or whatever, but you can't get your spot back.
Not going to be a very happy camper behind the wheel of that car. Our Speed Stick fastest qualifiers out front, it's the Maxwell Wilkins MULTIMATIC Ford Mustang, Kenton Espenlaub, and the 97 Firebird. We'll start second in the field. And in a rare sports appearance, here's Andy Lally, but Joe Nonemaker is going to be in this car also. Chuck Goldsboro second with Gleason, and Branson Patch, Bob Nagel in third. In the touring class, Dick Starita and John Wymore had the pole in the Mazda MX-6. The Nonemaker brothers right beside them, Silva and Shabu in the 77 car third. In compact, 2 Miatas up on the front row here, Speck and Whitaker, and Phillips and Tonelli. In third place, it's the Bill Fenton, Bob Beatty, Del Sol. We'll be right back for the start from the Road Atlanta Motorsports Complex in just a moment. Headed underneath the bridge and now down toward the start-finish line here at Road Atlanta. The Motorola Cup competitors look to be in pretty fair order, looking for a green flag, and we are underway. Side by side, Greg Wilkins in the 0 Ford Mustang leads. Heinrecy is second. The 97 Kent Firebird falls into third spot into turn number 1.
Beautiful 4-car flare. Wilkins out front. And that's where you want to be. 2.5-mile track, 12 turns. It's a treacherous racetrack. You need to lead this thing.
Let's ride on board with Greg Wilkins for a little while as he heads up toward the S's and look at the twisty part of Road Atlanta.
That's turn 3. It's a real tough corner. It's a blind corner. High speed off camber, left-hand turn 4. Down in the S's, this is almost flat out. You hear him breathe the throttle his first lap to get some heat in the tires, but you can run flat in most all cars. You really got to hunker the car down here to pop it back into second. Some cars third in most of them these days as you go up over the hill at turn 5. We're heading to our bank turn 6. It's the only corner here that has some camber to it.
A real nice short shoot here, a little straightaway between 5 and 6. Hard on the brakes to the inside. The 32 of John Heinrecy challenges and takes over the lead. John Heinrecy in the Firebird, a new leader.
Beautiful shot from inside the car from Wilkins here. He's on the outside. Heinrecy, he does not want John to lead this first lap. He's going to drag racing down this long back straightaway, but the Firebird has a bigger radius, which should give him bigger speed. 2 Mustangs right behind as we go over the hump at turn 8 here. This will be a long, the cars will actually reach almost 150 miles an hour before we go down toward what used to be called the dip. Real tight corner at the bottom of this hill. Let's hang on and see who can outbrake who.
An interesting comparison. The bigger motor in the Firebird, the overhead cam maybe revs a little higher in the Ford Mustang. Hard on the brakes into the chicane, corner number 10 for the first time at speed.
Yeah, decides not to fight him for it. Stays right in line, even though we see a fight toward the back. John Heinrecy, he gets a little bit off in the dirt here. That's a rare move on John's part. He usually stays on the pavement as we go down this long, steep hill up to 4th gear, and we have a pass.
Suddenly, that Greg Wilkins 0 car slowed out on the racetrack, and I'm not sure exactly why. He almost gets hit from behind by the 31 car.
I don't know what you call almost where you come from, but he was being pushed by that Firebird.
Well, I'm not sure whether he missed a shift or what happened there. Maybe we can get another look as we ride on board with Greg Wilkins.
Yeah, you do go to 4th gear right there. Right as you turn in, you go to 4th gear. Maybe he did miss that gear. Boy, I tell you, this is a near miss here.
That could be an awful nasty one, as if he got just a little bit of an angle on him there, he could have pushed both of those cars off the racetrack, but everybody managed to survive.
So John's out front. Mike Wienberg will be his co-driver here. This is Joe Aquilini car in the 32 car. Mustangs on the pole. Firebird lead.
The field begins to stretch out just a little bit as we watch the Grand Sport leaders go through. The 0 cars filling well off the pace now as we watch them climb up the hill one more time. The car's off the racetrack. The 39 of Bob Kahn. The Bob Kahn machine sitting lifeless on the racetrack. We'll get a replay and take a look at this one.
Yeah, he pops off the racetrack at a real strange place. There's no reason to go off here. It looks like he may have a tire down. He might have cut a tire down on this car. Hopefully we can see it from a different angle.
As the car begins to slide backwards, the left rear corner is flat. Great call.
Yeah, it sure is. So early in the race, here he goes, man, and the car just won't turn in. Nice job of locking it up. That way everybody knows where he's going to wind up. A super save here.
As he tries to come down the hill just a little bit, he spins the car again and almost gets collected on his way down, but everybody sees it happening. Bob Kahn, the 39 car, is going to try and limp it back in along pit lane.
It's going to be a long limp. He's got about 2 miles to bring that sucker back.
Yeah, he's only about a quarter mile from the pit exit now. Kind of along when we get another look at this one as he's coming down the more or less straight piece of the racetrack, and suddenly the car decides to make a right-hand turn.
Oh, this is a 2-part test here. This is the second part of this. He got spun at turn 3 by that tire, doesn't identify the problem, gets back down in the S's, and here's the problem. It's a no left rear tire on this car. Does a nice job of locking it up. Speaking of, and here's a right front tire. What in the world's going on?
Mike DeFontes obviously has picked up a piece of debris or something out of the racetrack. Look at the damage on the corner of the car. He's had a little coming together with somebody, and that's how this tire has gone down. Mike DeFontes in the 78 Firebird has a flat tire as well. Now, the 32 of John Heinrecy is slowed on the racetrack, and we've got a new leader, David Lacey. The number 7 Ford Mustang has taken over the lead. Heinrecy in the pits with some kind of a drivetrain problem, as we understand it. Lacey in the 7 Ford Mustang is first. The 47 John Kohler Mustang is second now. 97 of Joe Kent. That Firebird runs in third, going down the back straightaway. We got a great battle on our hands for 4th. James Young, the 31 Firebird, looks to the inside of Mike Fitzgerald in the 22 BMW and makes the pass stick.
Coming down this long straightaway, big V8 horsepower over the BMW. Mike Fitzgerald from here in Atlanta, Georgia, out of the Franz Blom Racing out of Tucker, Georgia. Hard braking zone. Watch this BMW get him into braking. BMW has wonderful brakes. It corners better than the Firebird, but going along straightaways, V8's going to win.
Through the chicane, look at the BMW all over the back bumper of the Sunoco 31 car. Now down another one of the twisty pieces of the handling piece of the racetrack here in Road Atlanta, and he makes that pass stick. Mike Fitzgerald's still in the spot back.
That's hard to do. That's a flat-out corner, but anytime you tighten your radius down, you know you got to have a good car under you to do that. Down in turn 1, preferred line's right-hand lane. Fitzgerald takes the right lane. Doesn't want that Firebird back around.
Mike Fitzgerald, the 22 BMW M3, showing off the handling of that automobile. Now the horsepower of the Firebird sneaks up a little bit. We've got some more action out on the racetrack as well.
we have what we call action in traffic as the Firebird is pushed off to the outside. Just not enough room for 3 cars to get in 2 spots.
Just kicking up a little of that red Georgia clay, but does a nice job getting it back on the track. Well, all that's been happening. David Lacey in the Coca-Cola Ford Mustang is our race leader. He's opening up a bit of a gap over the balance of the field. David Lacey now up toward the S's one more time.
And like we talk about the lead car, he always has the preferred spot in the world because he's not worried about anybody in front of him. He can drive smoother, even though we slide a little bit right here.
Another flat tire. The 72 BMW has a left front corner go down. The Nonamaker Lolly BMW Z3 with a problem out on the racetrack.
This car's from right up the road here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. This car has run well all year. It's a shame we cut that tire down. Fortunately, it's near the pits.
The early leader in sports now has to make a pit stop and leaves the 10 John Barassa car up to second in sports. The 9 Lexus of Chuck Goldsboro will move into 3rd spot as a result.
That's an automatic transmission car, so he doesn't have the gears to help slow him down. He's using an automatic, big old heavy 3,400-pound car, but she's looking good.
Hey, a great race. The car seems to be pretty quick in a straight line. Whether he can hold on to that kind of momentum all the way around the racetrack or, for that matter, the balance of the contest is another question. The 7 car of David Lacey is our race leader. The 11 of Devin Powell is now up to 11th spot. He's gone by 40 cars.
Well, the first 30 are pretty easy, sort of easy pickings, but the last 10, they get tougher and tougher. It's a great racetrack to do this, though. You got a lot of good straightaways to get around the slower cars, get around the smaller cars, but these back 10, man, they're going to be tough.
Devin Powell, the 11th, Sunoco Firebird, now up to 11th spot, but he's still got a long way to get back up to the front. We'll be back with more action from Road Atlanta in a moment. Welcome back to Road Atlanta, the Motorola Cup, and we've got a great race going on in touring, and this is actually a battle for second place.
This race has been going on all year long. This is for second place. It's between the 2 Nonamaker cars, the 2 team cars now fighting side by side. Peter Swartzot, he's just going to try to pick up where they leave off as soon as the one of them leaves off, because they will do that eventually. Side by side in turn 6, Swartzot taking a pick. Hopefully we get in-car camera with Peter here. He's trying to pick which is going to be the fastest car. I got to draft one of these guys. This is turn 7. They have parked each other on the slowest corner here. It leads on to the longest straightaway. Slick Dick Street on the outside, Will Nonamaker on the inside. Even though it's 2 different Mazdas, they're in the same class. And now Swartzot trying to find a place. Can he push the big 4-door car? Possibly so. Has a little bit better draft. Down to hard braking zone. They're still side by side. These guys are having a large time with each other, but they're literally letting the leader, the Audi, get away as they're holding up Peter back here at the back. Underneath the bridge, Road Atlanta. This is a fun corner coming down the hill. You're in 3rd gear. You're in 4th gear. You will get 5th gear right at the stripe. Peter's on the outside. This is not a great place to go side by side. Boy, you sort of pucker up Buttercup every time you come down this hill because it's just walls on both sides. You can't make a mistake here. We're still going down turn 1 side by side. And you wonder why these guys race. You wonder why they do this every weekend. There ain't nothing finer. Peter's on the outside of turn 1. That other blue car's got to be somewhere. I think I know where he is. He's on Peter's door handle as Peter goes out in the dirt to try to make a radius for both of them. The Mazda goes on up the hill. Peter loses a few spots, but not the race yet.
A little bit of real estate, but that's all a great battle. That's second place in touring, and while that's been going on, have we had a battle for first place? Coming down that short chute between 5 and 6, John Kohler steams by David Lacey and steals away first spot. David maybe got held up a little bit by the DURA Firebird of Mike DeFontes and loses the first position, but now David Lacey coming down the straightaway is going to fight him back, or at least going to try to. John Kohler in the 47 Zippo Ford Mustang, the race leader. David now looks to the inside, coming into the chicane. Again, can't quite get the job done. A great battle out front as well, as this is the contest for first place here at Road Atlanta. The 47 car of John Kohler, David Lacey in car number 7. The Mustangs first and second down the hill in the front straightaway as the race for first continues in Grand Sport 2. Whoa, a big slide coming down that hill by John Kohler. We've got a car with some battle damage out here, too.
Yeah, back bumper. He's backed into something, or somebody has turned around on him.
James Jott was in 5th place, and he's had some contact as we'll get another look at it. The contact may have been with...
I think it's a self-inflicted.
Immovable, yeah.
It's self-inflicted. He went off on the outside of the chicane, coming up under the bridge. He goes all the way across the racetrack and hits the inside of the bridge.
Manages to peel the back bumper off the car, but that's all so far. The race out front continues. Kohler still holding them off. I can't help but imagine that while these two are doing battle for first place, everybody behind them is slowly creeping up on them as well.
Well, you know they are. What they're trying to do, we have another car coming in the pits, thank goodness. Used to, that wasn't pit in at Road Atlanta. It scared you when you got out there at 100-something miles an hour. I've seen Tom Davey out there. But these cars here in the lead, we have the Kohler car. You're trying to get the lap traffic. You can't fight each other. You've got to try to be as clean as you can because the third place car, he's coming.
doing a really nice, clean job of racing out there. Nobody's touched each other, but I can't imagine them getting too much closer than they are right now. John Kohler trying to hold on to the lead in the 47 Mustang. The SVT, the newer model Ford Mustang, right in behind in second place with David Lacey driving. Now on board with Devin Powell in that 11 Pontiac Firebird up to 7th place and now looking for 6th.
Now looking for 6th place. He's come all the way from the back. He's had a great day. He knows he's picking off one car at a time. These top 10 are tough to do. He's turned 6 now. Now he's looking to who's next. The pit crew's telling him where you are, how many seconds you're back. He's trying to, he's got to use that car up, but he's got to leave some car left over for Doug Goat at the end of the race.
Leaving some left over at the end of the race might be number 2 in his list of things to do right now. Another great race out front. This is the sport class leader, John Barassa. The number 9 Lexus now runs in 2nd place. Driving real hard in both of those automobiles. The Lexus, a heavier car, might be using up those tires by the end of it.
3,400 pounds worth automatic transmission.
And we've got a car off the racetrack. Stu Relter, number 76 Mazda Miata's rearranged the geometry of that suspension a touch.
Little toe out at the back.
Another car's fallen off. This is the Phillips Tonelli 91 Mazda.
I don't think he didn't lose a lick.
No, he didn't even take his foot off the gas. Didn't even slow down. He just shortened up the corner a little bit. Maybe collected a little dirt. We'll get another look at how this one happened, and he may have had some help.
Oh, he's up here in turn 3, and this is a right-hand turn. The Lexus gets in his door just a little bit, and it turns him more than he needs to. That's called a bit of oversteer, wherever he come from. He's got it collected up, but actually you can take a shortcut here. Years ago, you go off the ground leaving here. They've done a great job of manicuring the outside of this track. He hadn't slowed down. I think he's upshifted twice.
He's upshifted twice, and he's still in front of the Lexus, I think, when he rejoins on the racetrack. Great piece of driving, there's no doubt about that. John Phillips in the 91 Mazda Miata leading the compact class. Now I know why he didn't want to take his foot off the gas. He's out front in this class, and he doesn't want to give away any positions, even if it's to another class car like the Lexus. In spite of that trip across the grass just a minute ago, it hasn't slowed the car down any. I don't think there's been any damage done to the automobile. But due to the incidents out on the racetrack, we've got yellow flags along the start-finish line. We're going to go to a full course yellow, which means that John Kohler in the Zippo Ford Mustang can relax just a little bit and catch his breath as we get some of the damaged cars out of harm's way here at Road Atlanta. John Kohler, the 47 Ford Mustang, is our race leader. We'll be back with more action in just a moment. Lacey Ford Mustang made a pit stop while we were away, and he now falls to 4th position.
This seems mighty early for a pit stop. The cars only go so far on gas and tires. Maybe they just felt like go ahead and get it out of the way, and then Mike could go to the finish.
It does seem like a little bit of an early stop, and the 22 BMW is out front. John Kohler loses a spot. Door handle to door handle. They go through the S's. Kohler gets the position back again.
He has to take it. You cannot go side by side. This is downhill, almost flat out. There's just no way the cars will hang on side by side. But the BMW, pretty gutsy move to get inside him in turn 3.
To go side by side through there, is that just a little bit of who's going to be a nervier to take that spot back?
Well, you become what we call his cushion if you're on the outside.
So you can hang on to the spot, but only so far before he leans on you around a corner.
BMW tries to stay with him in this tight stuff. It's very easy to do. But once we come around turn 7, this hairpin turn, actually 2nd gear for some cars, 3rd gear in these right here, he's probably going to lose a little bit. Big, long straightaway.
Further back in the field, we go on board again with a new touring class leader, the 41 Nanomaker Mazda MX-6, being chased by Peter Schwartzat in the 71 car. Peter Schwartzat up beside him and passes him for the lead.
Yeah, the Mazda made a teeny mistake, locked up the rear wheels going in turn 1, and Peter took advantage of that, as he will.
And once again, we watch these cars come down the longest straight here at Road Atlanta. Does the Mazda have anything for him up beside him? He's taking the lead once again.
Yeah, but he's on the wrong side in the braking zone, Jim, because the inside line is preferred line. We're going to turn left here in a minute, and there's nowhere for the Mazda to go. So Peter knows that. Peter takes the point as we go up through the chicane, underneath the bridge, and come down that long hill. The Mazda's going to look inside a little early here. He pinches off his radius. That hurts speed. But coming down the hill, he may have the preferred apex in turn 12.
The preferred apex, and if you stay out on the outside, you become the cushion again. And at this speed, you sure don't want that to happen.
He's making that a real wide car. In the meantime, we've got a V8 Firebird trying to get through. Splits him.
What a great race to the turn number 1. The Pontiac splitting the touring class battle, and Peter Schwartzat steals away the spot again.
This touring is awesome. They're side by side. They're taking lines that you wouldn't even draw on paper.
We've seen 3 different passes over the space of half a lap. Peter Schwartzelt, the BBS Acura, once again out front as far as touring is concerned, but he's not going to get away, not by any stretch. But Mazda seems to be a little quicker in a straight line.
Yeah, I think so. Nonamaker pops out. He knows he's got the motor on Schwartzelt. Now, see, look at the KG veteran. He pops in behind him to get some of that draft, get that run down that long straightaway. Maybe in the braking zone, we'll stick our nose back in again.
We'll have to wait and see. We got a car off the road, though, the 61 Honda. Ken Grammer and Rick Dishaw sharing that Honda Civic SI. The 61 car comes off over in the new chicane area and drives around the gravel trap. That's pretty bright, rather than try to drive it through.
Yeah, let's see, coming in the braking zone, he's right behind the MITA. This is downhill, so it's a real tough braking zone, and he realizes he can't make it. He pops off to the right, gets in the grass, but he's got him locked up, and now lets him rotate just a little bit, stays out of the gravel, stays out of the wall. A super job here of not crashing his car and keeping the momentum up where he doesn't get stuck back there.
John Kohler and Gary Smith, the number 47 Zippo Ford Mustang. Kohler behind the wheel to start off the race and is currently out in front of the number 22 BMW of Mike Fitzgerald.
And there's Elvis with a radar gun. A lot of these guys, they're checking. Oh, it's their head of tech, Paul Rossi, just seeing how fast these cars are at the end of a long straightaway.
Paul gets confused for Elvis all the time, doesn't he?
Thank you very much. What Paul sees is a Grand Sports car is about 140 miles an hour, sports and touring about 130, and a compact car is about 120 at the end of this straight.
Looks like we got another flat tire. The 02 Porsche 944 sheds a tire coming down pit lane. At least he's picked a good spot to have a flat.
Yeah, compared to his buddies, at least he got back to the pits. Let's see where this happens on our replay. Actually, it's way back here in turn 3. He turns right. Dog don't hunt. It goes straight out in the field. So he does have a long way. That's why that tire comes apart on him. So turns right in turn 3. Left front tire goes down. Good job of catching the car.
A great job. On the other hand, we got 2 cars off the racetrack in corner number 1, the 82 Honda Prelude, one of them, and another car. I think we've got one of the Acuras off the racetrack and into the tire wall over here as well.
Looks like the 77 car. We've had to come in together.
We've had 2 cars come together on the racetrack in corner number 1, and a pretty fair clip from the look of things. Not a whole bunch of damage, fortunately. One of the cars off the racetrack is the 82. That's Kuno Whitmer.
Yeah, 16-year-old. Let's see if we can have a replay here. Coming turn 1, it's a 4th gear corner. Yeah, the Honda locks up the rears instantly. I think he jumps on the brakes, and now he's what we call hook slid it. Got a big tank slapper, and he takes the 77 car with him. So this was going to be a single car incident. Gets out in the pea gravel and buries that Honda. He'll be there a while.
The silver Shabu Acura Integra gets buried over there, and we've got a combine to help pull him out from the look of things. Kuno Whitmer not very happy with this turn of events, that's for sure. Let's take a look at the STP leaderboard while we got a bit of a break in the action. John Kohler in the TF Racing Ford Mustang, the 47 car, is the race leader and leader in Grand Sport.
In sport, it's Team Hurricane, Stewart and Barassa. Second, Chuck Goldsburn at Lexus. And third, Howie Llebengood, Scott Harrington.
In the touring class, Peter Schwartzelt, Bob Endicott's number 71 Acura Integra leads the Nunemaker Brothers Mazda 626, the 41 car.
And in compact, the two Miatas still up front. Phillips and Tonelli, along with Speck and Whitaker, over the Ed Magner, Frank Del Vecchio Oldsmobile.
We've got a full course yellow to take care of those 2 cars over in corner number 1. And in the meantime, our race leader, the 47 Zippo Mustangs, in along pit lane. John Kohler brings the Ford Mustang in for tire change, refueling, and drivers too. Gary Smith's going to get in here.
He's gone 38 laps on these tires and on his tank of gas. I tell you, he really stretched further than I thought he could.
We'll be back with more from Road Atlanta in a moment. Welcome back. On your race leaders, the 35 Phoenix American Pontiac Firebird of Heinrecy and Wienberg. Now that Firebird is out front here. However, they're one of the few cars that hasn't taken advantage of the yellow flag to come in for a pit stop. The 54 BMW runs second. In the sport class, a little bit further back, the number 10 Lance Stewart John Barassa Acura leads the sport class. The 72 BMW is a lap down in front of them out there. Still the race leader, the number 35 Pontiac, leading the field through the S's once again, beginning to stretch it just a little bit. And we can see the difference from first to second as now the 54 BMW, the second place car, comes into our field of view.
Down on the S's, once again, it's our touring battle. Guess who? The 41 cars, Will and Wayne Nonemaker against 71, the Acura, Peter Schwartzelt, Bob Endicott. These guys tooth and nail. Whatever street it went, these guys first and second right now.
I'm Another great one out on the circuit. The 91 Mazda Miata putting a lap on the second place 27 Honda Civic Del Sol. Pretty comfortable lead considering our race isn't even halfway over yet.
Not half yet, but you never know what pit strategy you can do, and you don't know what you with yellow flags. You know, all of a sudden you can get that lap back with a good full course caution.
They're still doing a great job out front. The 47 Gary Smith Zippo Ford Mustang. They've completed a recent stop, and now they're back up to third position out on the circuit. A little bit further back, the 22 car is in fifth spot, and he's got a real battle on his hands. Look at him behind him there. It's the 11 Sunoco Firebird. That's the car that started dead last. He's running sixth and challenging for fifth spot through the S's.
That's old Yeller, who was back at the back of the pack. Car didn't fire whatever on the grid, but boy, he has come through this field, and now he just has 5 to go.
Oh, up through the chicane, we've got all sorts of cars off the racetrack. Everybody seems to have gotten through. We've got the Hyundai Tiburon driving through the grass up there, and more cars spinning. The track's slippery for some reason. The 95 Mazda Miata has come to a dead stop in the middle of the racetrack up here.
He's the second car off here. This is not a high-speed area. I'm really amazed. And now a reaction to the spun car. A second synchronized spinning to this spun car. That's 5 cars we've seen off here in the last 2 seconds.
Yeah, there's no reason all these cars are going to go sliding off the racetrack all at once. Otherwise, unless there's something slippery down on the racetrack that we're not aware of just yet. All sorts of people trying to avoid not only the car that spun out in the middle, but we've got a full course caution once again. The 95 Mazda Miata has come to a stop up there. Maybe we can find out why.
On the replay, at the end of the back straightaway, we see the Mustang turning in, and he starts to smoke pretty heavily here as we get the slower around the corner. He starts dropping stuff. Oh, he has aerated the block.
He's aerated the block, and he's dumping a whole 5-liter Mustang's worth of oil out on the racetrack there, and maybe some other fluids as well. We'll go on board with the Spec Whitaker 92 little Mazda Miata through here.
This is our leader here, and he looks up and sees a spun car. Oh, does a beautiful job of popping to the outside and misses that spun car. Man, that was a near miss.
Lots of near misses, and now the Heinz Moorcones, the 95 car, which has come to a stop up there. The safety crew is out there immediately to get him off the racetrack. We're under full course yellow one more time. And I can imagine there's going to be a lot of people who haven't pitted yet coming in to take advantage of this yellow. Lots of yellow so far today here at Road Atlanta. One of the cars coming in along pit lane, the number 10 car, our class leader, and our race leader, the 39 Firebird, is in pits too. Now that's going to move the 47 Zippo Ford Mustang of Gary Smith back into the lead. While we got a second, recently we asked Gary about how to go about blueprinting the black art of getting the maximum horsepower out of a Motorola Cup racing engine.
Basically, blueprinting is just bringing all of the components in the engine to the factory specifications. Obviously, there are many components in the engine, and all of them are manufactured within certain tolerances. Those tolerances, there is a high or a low side, which is most favorable for making power. That's what you do when you blueprint. You bring those tolerances to the most favorable limit that you can. It is a tedious process, and it's one of those endeavors that probably the more time you take doing it, the better the results are. Just engine assembly with standard components is probably a 30-hour endeavor to do it properly. From all of that work, you probably gain on the order of 15 to 20%. Most American-built cars have more room to gain horsepower with that blueprinting operation because the production tolerances are a little wider than they are in the European cars. Europeans are much more used to making very small units that are more precise so that they can get their power levels up. American cars, we've always depended on making things big, getting a lot of power, and it doesn't have to be as quite as precise.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody explain that well before. The cars are all lined up for the restart. We'll be back with more action from the Road Atlanta Motorsports Complex in a moment. All set for the restart. The car is winding it up, coming down the hill, down the start-finish line toward the green flag. The race leader, the 47 Zippo Ford Mustang. Gary Smith at the controls, third in line at the restart, but not for long as he goes by one of the touring class Acuras. And as a matter of fact, the race order as it stands right now could shake up those manufacturers' point standings that we were talking about earlier on. Out front, the Zippo Ford Mustang running in second spot. We've got the second place BMW M3, the 54 car, and the 11 Firebird of Doug Goad now runs in third. What a great job for the Sunoco Firebird team, coming from dead last on the grid at the green flag to start this one, now up in the third position so far today.
Looking further back in the pack, once again, here's our touring guys. They haven't changed a bit. The Nanomakers over Endicott Swartzod car. It's the Mazda over the Acura Integra, and they are still going to fight all the way to the last lap.
And in behind that touring class contest, look at this. The 11 Doug Goat Firebird goes by the 54 BMW. That's a pass for position. The 11 Sunoco Firebird now moves into second place, last to second, and there's still lots of racing to go.
What a great drive for these guys. Talk about adversity. Talk about being nervous. Car won't start at the first of the race, and now all the way up in second place. Meanwhile, our leader is actually lapping a 32 car.
The 32 machine not in the hunt anymore. The 32 car lost a whole bunch of time in the pits. They actually changed the whole rear axle of that Pontiac Firebird after leading the opening couple of laps. No such trouble with a 47 Zippo Ford Mustang, though, as he's still carving his way through the field. And the 54 BMW, our third place BMW, is pulled off the racetrack and pulled behind the wall. The Pfeffer Fitzgerald 54 car.
Actually, it's facing the wrong way, but I do see a portage-on there. There may be a reason for this, but that's an odd place to park. In the meantime, another BMW here at turn 3, top of the hill, inside the Firebird, gets on the apex curbs, and those really bounce the car, but consequently slides across, gets the nose of this Firebird, knocks him off the track. Now both cars are a little bit out of control, gets together back up as they stack traffic up behind them. Turn 3, off camber, downhill.
Boy, Road Atlanta's like a Bermuda Triangle for BMWs today. Doug Goat in the Firebird runs in second spot, but coming up 5, the 35 car. John Heinrecy, who started in the 32, is now in the 35 machine, and he's moving up fast from the look of things. Now, John Heinrecy's in the 35 car, started in the 32 car. Joe Aquilati does this just to mess up the track announcers, I swear.
To keep the announcers guessing. Actually, I've driven with Joe, and I've driven with Rossi, of course, on multi-car teams. You put your best guys where you have to. A lot of times, like at night at Motorsport, you just put whoever shows up in the pits at 3 o'clock in the morning. But in this case, John Heinrecy, you know, that's his #1 driver, so he puts John where he needs him the most.
Hey, and John Heinrecy now is giving Doug Goat fits coming into the slowest piece of the race course. Into turn number 5, drives to the inside, makes what looks like a nice, easy pass.
Yeah, be more than a fit. That's the inside pass for a position.
That's the inside pass for second place on the racetrack. John Heinrecy in the 35 Pontiac Firebird. Started out in the lead in the 32 car, is now back into second place in the 35.
Here come the touring guys. That's my guys. These are my guys back here. Nanomaker lead to 71, Bob Endicott. These guys, you know, the crew's telling them, hey, only a few laps left in this race now. You got to go ahead and get around that car. You're struggling as hard as you can. They tell you to pick up the pace.
2 different battles going on. The touring class to the outside of the racetrack, to the inside. Here comes the sport. The sport class, Acura Integra Type R, which is a sport variant of the car. The number 10 Team Hurricane machine moves by the touring class 71 Acura.
Endicott's hoping that Stewart will drag him around there. Use that draft. Stewart gets on the inside, coming down to that hard left-hand turn at the bottom of the hill. And sure enough, Endicott sticks his nose in there, but not quite enough of the nose as the Mazda slots in behind Lance.
A nice piece of driving as the 71 tried to follow the other Acura through, but didn't quite get the job done. Those cars once again coming down the hill. Here comes the Sport Class 72 Z3 looking to the inside. Kind of a nervous place to pass, and he touches him, but he manages to hold on.
You don't know nervous till you come down that hill sideways, son. You talk about pucker up, son. I'm telling you, that's a long ride.
I suppose they managed to get away with it that time. Some nice driving as far as the 71 Acura is concerned to keep it in a straight line going down that start-finish line. With less than an hour to go, our STP leaderboard, lap 67 in Grand Sport, the Kohler Smith 47 Ford Mustang leads Heinrecy in the 35 Firebird.
In sports, Lance Stewart, John Barraza in the Team Hurricane car over Gleason, Goldsboro, and Alexis, and Llebengood, Harrington in their BMW 328.
As far as the touring class, Will and Wayne Nunemaker in the 41 Mazda 626 leads Schwartzside, Endicott 71 Acura Integra.
Phillips, Tonelli in the MITA, they are running away with compact right now. But the Fenton Beatty Del Sol's in second, and Grammer DeShaw in third.
Still lots more to go. About an hour left here at Road Atlanta. You know, Motorola's involvement in the Motorola Cup Series is more than just a title sponsor. The teams actually use the Motorola products on a regular basis, and we talked about it with Doug Brownridge.
Well, we started off with a longer involvement in the kart racing series, and what we felt was a real nice tie with the Motorola Cup is it was real cars, real people, real action that kind of brought the technology racing down to your own garage, the kind of cars that you drive to work every day. We have the two-way radios helping all the pit communication and the coordination of the race. On top of that, we also have our digital DNA products involved in most of the car systems, creating the higher performance levels. One of the big things that we find this year in particular is a new product called a page writer, basically a wireless email device And a lot of the teams are using that. You can get an email off right from the track to your back support and get parts in right away.
To find out more about how it's actually done, check out Motorola.com on the World Wide Web. Back here at Road Atlanta, the number 35 Firebird of John Heinrecy, second place overall, slowly but surely trying to reel in the 47 Zippo Ford Mustang of Gary Smith. Back in the touring class, they've been racing side by side, door handle to door handle, bumper to bumper all afternoon long, and it continues. The 71 BBS Acura of Schwartzman and Endicott and the 41 Mazda 626 of Will and Wayne Nuttemaker. It's been like this all day long.
They keep taking turns where they want to pass, where they want to lead, and that lets the third-place car sort of catch up on them. These guys just need to sort of tuck into each other. One reason they do want to lead, though, is if the leaders come to them, they can't afford to be split up. You've got to be leading through traffic, as we've always talked about, but these guys are having too much fun passing each other. It's a great battle.
And my hat goes off to the tech people with the Motorola Cup. I don't imagine how you could get two race cars any closer. Like the four-door sedan, Mazda 626, and the Acura Integra. Just incredible.
Yeah, Rossi and the guys in tech have done a super job here. This whole Motorola Cup, all the classes are equal. That's one reason it's fun to race it. Everybody is competitive.
Boy, fun to race, and it sure is a barrel of fun to watch. So these two guys continue to go at it lap after lap after more than 2 hours of racing.
Yeah, we're inside here with Endicott, trying to dog that car. If you can run close enough on his back bumper, the lead car always, even though he likes to lead, he's always in his mirrors wondering, where is he? What's that guy going to do to me? So it's actually easier to chase in a lot of cases.
Chase into turn number 5 up on the top side of Atlanta. We got a Lexus GS 400 that separates them just a little bit. The touring class BBS Acura just went by the sport class Lexus. Did you notice that?
Yeah, toward the end of the race, with only about an hour left here, the Lexus, automatic transmission, probably used up a lot of brake, used up a lot of tire.
As we keep an eye on the touring class cars, the race leader is sneaking up behind them. He's going to put him a lap down shortly, too, as we watch him come down the straightaway. The 47 Zippo Ford Mustang is our race leader.
Here comes the race leader. Endicott sees him coming. He wants to get around this Mazda before the leaders get there. He wants it to be clean. He hates to be split by these cars, and that's exactly what's happened. The leader has gotten in front of him. It's going to hold him back just a little bit because it's a tight area. Endicott is faster through here. The Mazda is going to have some breathing room coming over the top of this hill.
Exactly what Bob Endicott did not want to happen there. It gets separated by one of the faster GS cars, which is faster around the race circuit, but not in that chicane piece of the racetrack.
No, look how much room he's going to lose on his front straightaway. Look how much he's going to lose to the Nuttmakers.
We've seen those touring class cars run nose to tail through most of the race, and now they've been separated by a couple of the Grand Sport cars just a moment ago. The race leader, though, the car in question, the 47 Zippo Ford Mustang through corner number 1. Now the question is the fuel stop strategy of the 47 car going to be enough to keep him in first place between now and the checkered flag? He did stop pretty early.
He stopped pretty early. Doing the math, this car may not have enough gas to go to the end.
We got one car that looks as though it's definitely not going to make it to the end. The Heinz Moorcones 95 Mazda Miata, the one that spun in the oil and brought out a full course yellow a moment ago, has a lot bigger problem now as it looks as though the motor's gone away.
Yeah, he's way back here in turn 8, back part of the racetrack. He's going to try to nurse it home, it looks like, but I think he's dropping stuff.
The last thing Gary Smith wants to run across is some oil out on the racetrack. And actually, it might not be oil he's worrying about. It might be fuel. I can't help but imagine the car stopped back in lap number 38, and there's still a ways to go. Can he make it to the checkered flag or not?
Doing the math, I don't think so. It's been a long time since he's pitted. I bet they're trying to do the numbers right now, telling him to try to be careful with this car. I bet the crew's nervous about this.
They just have to be. The 35 John Heinrecy Firebird is only 9 seconds back when last we looked. Take a look at the crew now. John Kohler
trying to redo the math.
Thinking about this one a little bit as we approach the final few moments of our round from Road Atlanta. Can the 47 Zippo Ford Mustang stay out in front? The touring class battle has tightened up once again. Now, they got separated a little bit just a couple of laps ago, but it hasn't taken very long for Bob Endicott to sneak up again on the back bumper of that 41 Mazda 626, looking to the inside in turn number 1.
And coming up in 3, he has the preferred line. He's on the inside of this right-hand turn. Looks like he's going to take the apex. The Mazda's going to fight him for it, but there's nowhere to go. He has to slot back in line. So the 71 car is going to lead down through the S's. Boy, if he can just get a little cushion here, he knows that he can maybe run away from that Mazda a little.
Great driving as far as both of these
Didn't last long.
It didn't seem to last very long. Nonetheless, so a great piece of driving by both these guys. They haven't touched each other, and I can't help but imagine how easy it would be just to help unsettle one of the cars a little bit and go by.
Yeah, but these guys race each other. This is about the 5th, 6th, 7th year these guys have raced together, even though the kids are pretty new. Nonamaker, Joe himself, and all that crew, they've been racing a long time. They're going to be here a long time. So you really can't afford to use the chrome horn very much. Now, side-by-side action coming up under the bridge. Downhill, Endicott, once again, what we call the preferred line, is going to be on the inside. But the bigger radius, that's going to let that Mazda get a huge shot through turn 12. He'll probably pop out down toward turn 1 because these guys just cannot stand the other guy to lead. However, in the rearview mirror, here comes a V8.
Here we are back at Road Atlanta for the Motorola Cup, headed toward the finish. The race leader, the 47 Mustang of Gary Smith. You see back to the second place Firebird. Just appearing into view now, John Heinrecy, about a 9-second deficit, but he's slowly but surely eating that up. And as he goes by, the hand comes out. One finger. Does that mean that he's going to be in one lap?
No, I don't think so. A little inspiration in the pits.
It certainly appears as though Gary Smith and his crew are looking a little concerned. They're the ones that look as though they're going to come in for a fuel splash. How does a driver, if they need to in a situation like this, conserve fuel?
Well, you can't use your Georgia overdrive, which means you throw it in neutral, but you can go to that next gear. Put that next gear early, put it in 5th instead of 4th, and you'll be surprised how you don't slow the car down that much. You roll into the throttle, you don't stomp on the gas coming off the corners, and every little bit helps. It does work.
And crossing your fingers seems to be the order of the day, too, in the Zippo crew. As the race lead is now underneath 8 seconds, Gary Smith in the 47 Zippo Ford Mustang trying to stay out in front of that 35 Firebird. Here's a replay down the front straightaway just a minute ago.
Down the long front straight, we see the Nonamaker car off in the dirt. This is a 100-mile-an-hour slide coming through turn 12. He's got the front drive car digging. He's got his foot in it. He's not going to lose a spot, but boy, a good save.
Oh, a great save. Still second place in Touring and still a couple laps to go. The Zippo crew all on their feet, all along the fence, watching for the car to come by every single time. Gary Smith still out front, now less than 7 seconds. One sputter and the lead disappears.
And you know what's happening? The fuel gauge is empty. They're sitting there crossing their fingers. They're just praying this thing will go a couple more laps. One sputter, you're right, and they're done.
Coming down the start-finish line, the last lap. This time around, the last lap board is out. 2.8 miles, less than a gallon to go. Does he have a gallon left is the question.
Well, I don't know. I've been there. And it's the most nervous couple of minutes in your life.
If holding your breath is going to make the car go around that last lap, I think they're trying that one right now. The Nonamaker and Nonamaker 41 Mazda 626 is out in front again. The touring class battle is coming down to the final lap as well.
Yeah, these guys might be holding their breath, but it's just to get around the other guy. This is great. Turn 7, we're on the last lap on the back straightaway. 41 cars leading, 71 Endicott right there. This has been a huge battle.
A huge one, and out front, it is still the Zippo Ford Mustang coming through the chicane for one last time. Underneath the bridge, it's going to be all downhill from here. And we've got all sorts of smoke on the front straightaway.
Boy, and it's a bad place to see it, too. This is a high-speed corner coming onto the front straight. Let's look and see where that smoke came from.
Not sure, but we are sure the checkered flag is out, and Gary Smith wins. The Zippo crew is ecstatic along pit lane. A great job for one and all. John Kohler and Gary Smith in the number 47 Ford Mustang, the winner overall and winner in Grand Sports, too.
Boy, they cut it mighty thin, but they did get the checkered flag. Speaking of mighty thin, here comes our touring run. The 71 car Endicott still trying to mount a charge on the 41 Nonamaker car. They're coming up on lap traffic in the last corner. Don't think he has time.
Don't think he's going to be able to do it through corner number 11 here at Road Atlanta. Will and Wayne Nonamaker win touring second place. Goes to the BBS Acura, Bob Endicott and Peter Schwartzheim. Boy, what a great finish as far as that class is concerned today, too. And now we find out where the smokes come from. The sport class leader is stopped on the last lap. Lance Stewart gets out of the number 10 Acura.
Oh, man, if this is the case where he'd been a little bit slower, he'd have been lapped right before the stripe, and he'd have won this class. As it was, he had to go 2.5 more miles, and he blows it up on that last lap. I feel so sorry for Lance and the guys.
So the win in sport goes to the 90 Lexus of Chuck Goldsboro and Chris Gleason, the first win for the Lexus GS 400. And in compact, the 91 Mazda Miata of John Phillips and Peter Tonelli. It's dominated that class all day long, and they're around at the finish to take the checkered flag in the win in compact. We'll be back to meet the winners in just a moment. Welcome back, and here are Motorola StarTAC stars of the race. Gary Smith and John Kohler, the drivers of the winning number 47 Zippo Ford Mustang.
Great job. Great job.
Wonderful call on the fuel strategy. My partner started the race, ran right to the front, dominated. We had the car today, ran the whole way. So all I had to do was make sure we had enough fuel at the end. Down the end, skipping downshift, shifted to 45, 4600, just trying to keep the gap. Hoping we made it to the end. Thank God we did. We're really happy to be here.
And our first-time sports winner, Chuck Goldsboro, making good use of his Motorola StarTAC phone.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you we're here at Atlanta, and I gave Lexus its first win. The first win for Lexus in the whole world.
And maybe the universe.
Thank you for giving us a good car.
And the winning Nonamaker brothers congratulate second place Bob Endicott on a great show today in touring. John Phillips, the compact winner, too.
Transports are very aggressive. They'll take you out just as soon as look at you. So we just kept scoring pace, didn't overdrive it, just kept it underneath us the whole time.
And our Derringer forward motion winner, the number 35 Firebird of John Heinrecy and Mike Wienberg, gaining 14 positions today. And now let's see how the manufacturers battle shakes out after the 7th race of the Motorola Cup Championship. In Grand Sport, Pontiac leads Ford by 5 points now. Third place belongs to BMW with 80 points.
In sports, it's tighter still. BMW only 2 points over the Acura. Lexus has some points today, 43.
In the touring class, we go back and we find Acura with a 15-point margin over Mazda. Honda back at 96 points in total.
In compact, Honda barely 5 points out ahead of the Hyundai cars. Mazda's right there at 95 points in third place.
Our next race is from Watkins Glen. For Terry Earwood, I'm Jim Martin saying so long. The Motorola Cup has been brought to you by Motorola. Web without wires. By Castrol. Track proven performance.